as a person of faith, I have my own spiritual practices, and so I celebrate my beliefs in certain ways. I do interfaith work, and I see people of other faith traditions or other spiritual inclinations and identities celebrate their beliefs in certain ways, celebrate their spirituality. I grew up in a non-religious household, and I was always interested in questions of spirituality and philosophy and, life purpose and so on and so forth. But I was not introduced to a set of symbols or language within a religion or a tradition, other than what I was getting through school education to help me explore those ideas. And that's fine, actually. I'm actually helpful that I didn't have that, because it allowed me to really figure out for myself where I needed to take it. But at the same time, so I grew up non-religious, but seeking, inquiring, curious, but apprehensive. And I think the social climate here really does support that kind of trajectory for a lot of people, because there is a sense, I have a feeling, and I've spoken about this with so many people, that religion is something that has historical value and not current value. It's, people are apprehensive of how that, how religion is useful to what humanity has evolved into. And often this is discussed in terms of science versus faith. Like, you have these dichotomies, like you have to choose one or the other because they can't coexist or mutually support each other. So I grew up in a climate where I felt like I had to choose one or the other, and so I just kind of maybe stayed a little bit in the shadows, or I don't know, I just, sort of off to the side, watching and wondering and engaging a little bit, but not sort of committing to anything. I think I've come to a point in my life where I actually do want to commit to something, and I have started over the past 10 years committing to a faith tradition that happens to be Christianity, Anglican in denomination. There are a bunch of reasons why I ended up there, but what's really important to me is not so much, is this the true way? It's more, this is something that's that I'm saying yes to help me grow as a person. And when I look at other people who have chosen other faith traditions, I kind of, I trust that that's what they're doing for themselves. And I think that's kind of different from, from other perspectives that are coming up in society, where people feel that people are not making their own choices and they're not choosing for themselves what faith traditions they want to engage in, or that they want to have a spiritual life. They feel that these are, psychic abuses kind of imposed on them. That sounds like strong language, but sometimes it does actually, it does get framed in that way. So I chose something, and it's been a real struggle, because I felt like I was almost choosing it against my better judgment. I think I told you that, but that struggle and that challenge is helpful to me, because it forces me to ask questions about, who do I feel that I really am? What kind of experience do I want to choose in my life? How do I want to interact with my community? And also, what impact can I have on my faith community in terms of them existing in a wider community? And what impact can we as a faith community have in the wider community? And how do I allow myself to be transformed by the community that is here and now, in which I grew up in which I'm currently living? So I think the need that I'm filling in myself is just acknowledging this journey that's very important to who I am and what I feel I need to accomplish in my life, and how I need to be around people. But also, more specifically in Quebec, I think that there's a lot of confusion, which is fine, but there is a lot of confusion as to how we can relate to each other as individuals and as groups with religious and spiritual differences and identities. We see that being played out politically and socially in very specific ways. And so I kind of almost feel that that's validating. When I see those things coming up, on the one hand, it's disconcerting because one feels like I can feel, and many of my friends and acquaintances feel like, well, why do we have to be like this to each other? Can't we learn to respect and tolerate each other? And on the other hand, I've been feeling this all my life, and so that these things are coming up, like the Charter of Values, does validate that the choices that I've made for myself are like that they're good choices, like that these are questions that need to be asked and addressed and looked at seriously. What I was feeling growing up and what I then felt like I needed to commit to now is something that is it's really current and important to look at. And so I feel like I have something to contribute by virtue of those experiences in my journey. So I'm looking for, and I'm finding opportunities where I can. For example, being a co-founder of this arts co-op. At first, I don't think I realized that I wanted to bring that aspect, that dimension of myself into it. But I realized as time went on that while I do want to be supportive of people coming in and exploring their creativity through arts, when I explore my creativity, I'm really connecting with I feel I'm connecting with my source of life. I'm connecting with inspiration, and that is very connected to what I name as my faith, and then what I also celebrate and practice within a faith community. So I'm trying to find ways in which I can make connections between this kind of space and what happens here, and communities of people who are wanting to explore their creativity and to do it as a very fundamental dimension of their faith life.